Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in this edition of the news. Our second guest is WALLAH EDITH, the national president of the Cameroon People's Party. Madam the President, you're welcome.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
Now, I want us to start in sports. As a Cameroonian and then as a political figure, what was your reaction when you heard that the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations was withdrawn from Cameroon?
I have to admit that I was not surprised. As a professional in my business, I work at the international level, and it is the way we work in Cameroon is completely unacceptable. I think this is even only because it was an African competition that so much leeway had been given to Cameroon already. So I was not surprised, because Cameroon was given a playbook. They were given things to do by a certain time. They did not do those things. Cameroon was not ready to host the competition, and as much as we love football and as much football talent as we have, we are a football nation. This should have been an amazing football moment for our country.
Were you sad?
But
were you sad about that?
My sadness goes way beyond AFCON. My sadness for Cameroon is profound. One of the reasons for which AFCON was not able to hold is because of the lack of security in the northwest and southwest regions. That is a much more important problem than the football tournament. So this was just a symptom of the very, very bad governance that we have had, which is actually costing us in lives. And it is time that Cameroonians come together and say stop. It is going to continue. We will have other disappointments. It's time for us to say stop. And
talking about the Anglophone crisis, the President of the Republic has created the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Commission, and Fayengo Francis, a former governor, appointed to lead that commission. Do you think that this commission can produce some positive results?
No, none whatsoever. Disarmament, demobilization, reintegration, remobilization, and repatriation. So first of all, the name of the committee they've chosen has already left out some of the parts. But two, most importantly, is that that process is not something which the Cameroon government is creating. This is an internationally recognized process which is used after conflict. And the first step of that process is a negotiated peace. You don't disarm unilaterally. How can you? How can you disarm unilaterally? The first step of disarmament is a negotiated peace. With whom has the government of Cameroon negotiated any peace?
But government says that it's not possible to negotiate in the midst of gunshots, in the midst of gun battles.
But it is,
and that's why the President of the Republic said in his inaugural speech to the pro-independence fighters, put down your arms.
It is government, fighters are going to put down their arms and go where? It is government to say.
Government has said they will receive them,
it is government
if it is no, to the normal life.
No, one is that we have to realize that this government has no credibility in the northwest and southwest regions. They don't even have credibility with the ordinary population, not to talk of those who are armed fighters. So that is point number one. Number two is that if government is going to negotiate a peace.
Are you saying that the pro-independence fighters will not believe the fact that authorities have said, put down your arms, come out of the bushes, we're going to receive you, we'll treat you well, we'll protect you,
of course,
and we'll reintegrate you into the normal life?
Of course they will not. They were shooting in the northwest yesterday. They were shooting in the southwest today, as you and I are speaking. Can you believe that somebody who is shooting at you is going to receive you and put down arms? No. We are in a situation where if there is to be peace, it has to be a negotiated peace. And it is a process. You have to be able to get people, talk to them, and agree on a certain number of things. Government is holding in its hands the leaders of those people who are fighting in the bush. They were on trial yesterday. It would be so easy for government to go to those people and say, we want to negotiate a peace. Where do we start? What are the steps? And if those leaders come out and say to their fighters, we want you to put down the guns because we have entered a process with government, believe you me, you will begin to get somewhere. But government cannot unilaterally declare disarmament.
Are you calling for the release of Sisiku, Ayub Tabe and the others?
I am calling, number one, for government to enter into a negotiated peace process. With regard to Sisiku, Ayub Tabe and the others, there are problems of legality. The government of Cameroon has not yet told us how it managed to bring those particular individuals to Cameroon. What was the process of arrest? Under what circumstances did they get into Cameroon? They are now going to the court after it's getting close to a year when they were when they were arrested. How were they maintained as prisoners for months and months and months without people knowing where they were, whether they were alive or not, and so on and so forth? That is a legal process under which the government of Cameroon has a lot to answer with regard to how it has conducted itself, because the law of Cameroon applies to you whether you are being accused of murder, whether you are being accused of terrorism, whatever it is you are being accused of, the law still applies to you. And as far as we can see from this juncture, government did not act within its own laws.
Is their release a precondition or a prerequisite for the success of this commission?
I would say that there at least discussion with them. They are in the fact that they are in prison doesn't mean you cannot talk to them. You can talk to them. Government can, they are in prison, government can begin talking to them. And it is as they talk to them that they will be the ones to set certain conditions to say, we can do this on condition of this. We can do this on condition of this. But if government refuses to address them in any manner, I don't think a disarmament committee, you see, government at the beginning of this crisis, they created a bilingualism committee, I believe. What are the results of that committee?
Now,
other than fancy cars and a lot of mission money and so on, what are the results of the bilingualism committee?
No,
we have no results from there, and the action is to create another committee. It's ridiculous.
Despite all what you're highlighting, the National Commission on Human Rights and Freedom, the president, you listen to him, he said if the disarmament is done in the spirit of reconciliation, it will produce some results in terms of bringing the situation back to normalcy. The
spirit of reconciliation means I cannot reconcile with you if I'm not talking to you. You cannot have reconciliation without dialogue. Is it possible? Even between me and you sitting here, if we are annoyed with one another, for us to reconcile, we must begin talking to each other. At this particular moment, government is not talking to those who are for separation. They are not even talking to those who are for federation. They are not even talking to some of us who are Anglophones, who are not for separation, but who believe that this government has things to answer with regard to Anglophone rights. They are not talking to anybody. So what is the reconciliation they are going to have?
WALLAH, EDITH, National President of the Cameroon People's Party, the CPP, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for this edition of the news. Have a nice weekend in the company of our programs.